I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks. I'm also the host of a radio show called Turning Hard Times to Good Times. It airs every Tuesday, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 o'clock Pacific. I'm also here at the Metals Investor Forum. It's November 16, 2019. I'm with an old friend, David Wolfin, who is the president and CEO of a company I've been following for quite a while. And he's just turned it into a royalty company. We're talking about Coral Gold, and I knew Coral Gold from the time your father ran the company, David. I'm really glad that we could meet up again and catch up on what you're doing. Now, you've really made quite a difference. You've made quite a change since your dad was in control. You've turned it into a royalty company.
Sure.
And I have an idea that he would be quite proud of that. I think he would see it as a good business decision. But maybe you can explain why you chose to turn this company, which had done very well under your father, had proved up a viable resource, had taken it economics and very viable.
Yeah.
But explain to our viewers why you made this move.
Well, we have about 3 million ounces inferred resources there, and we did a PEA. In order to advance the project, it would take about $8 million of drilling and metallurgical work to go to the next stage, and then following that, a feasibility, and then building a mine, which would be $100 or $150 million.
Yeah.
So we were in the doldrums with the metal prices, and I was financing the company, and I thought, why am I the only one financing it? I got to stop the bleeding and the dilution of shareholders. So I thought, my father always said, cash is king, and don't be greedy, like a PIG. And so I thought, well, why not talk to Barrick about them acquiring it and processing it through their mill and keeping a royalty? And so they said, absolutely. So that happened in 2017. We started talking in 2016, happened in 2017, and to improve the economics of the deal, we got our stock back. They own 9%, so they gave that back, and we got a sliding scale royalty. I was thinking like Royal Gold. They got a sliding scale, so it improves with the price of metals. And then also they have to pay an advance royalty, so they can't put it on the shelf, a substantial amount. So, yeah.
So that's, and of course, Barrick knew something about your project before because they were joint venturing on some parts of it in the past, right? And so they knew, and of course they're right next to the pipeline, which is their most...
There's no better company between them and Newmont that know Nevada better.
Right. And they have the resources, of course, too. Now it's Barrick and Newmont combined.
Correct.
Called Nevada Gold, I guess.
Nevada Gold Mines, 60/40.
Nevada Gold Mines. So 60/40, everything in Nevada.
Yeah.
For those two companies. And
the beauty of that is they have access to every type of processing facility within a 30-mile radius. Yeah. So higher recovery rates on every deposit.
Right. And those autoclaves are hard to
roasters, autoclaves, everything, you name it, they got it.
Okay, so now you have the ounces, there are ounces of gold there, and as I understand, Nevada Gold Mines are moving towards production right now on this project, right? What can you tell us about that?
Environmental impact statement, plan of operation, and pre-feasibility study are all happening at the same time. They want to expedite it because the pipeline in Cortez Hills project, they move 17 million tons of ore annually.
Wow!
So that's a huge mouth to
produce
feed.
Over
how do you keep feeding it? So they need it. They need whatever they can get within a 10 or 15 mile radius.
Yeah, talk about hungry. Huh?
Yeah.
So there's the economies of scale that work for them. So and they're right next door. They know your geology very well. I think they're looking well beyond the 3 million ounces, probably.
Oh, sure.
Longer term. Talk to us a little bit about the exploration potential at depth. I mean, they're looking, I believe they're looking for a Carlin-style mineralization like they have next door, right? And
there's a geological window next door that hosts their deposits. But as they go up the foothills, it's higher up in the system. So we're in the upper plate part of this geology. It came from somewhere. It leaked from down below, and they feel down below the higher grade sources could be there. It's like a gold field in that whole area. So there's tremendous potential. And our 3 million ounces, are relatively shallow.
Right. And how any idea, any hope for production soon? What's reasonable to expect or to hope for?
They've just permitted the Deep South, which is the feeder zone to Cortez Hills, and so they want to bring that in production in 2022. So we think there will be synergies if they can bring Robertson at the same time. There's metallurgical synergies that will help the pipeline mill.
I see. So that's kind of what you're looking for time-wise.
Yeah.
David, and I like to tell my subscribers that I really like to see management's interests aligned with shareholders. And I don't know of many companies that have stronger alignment than you have. Talk to us a little bit about your share structure.
30% management owns. I acquired all my shares either through exercising options or in the open market. I didn't get cheap founder shares. So, if you ever... people would know if they work for their fathers, they know they don't like to pay them much. So my remuneration is aligned with the shareholders.
Yeah, it's excellent. And you actually had a share buyback.
So we've got a normal course issuer bid. We've bought back about 5 to 6 million shares since 2017, because right now we're trading a bit above cash, but there's very little value on a royalty.
Right.
And it's just amazing to me that people aren't buying it up. I mean, so I'm shrinking the float. So when the technical data is released, there'll be very little resistance to the upside.
I think people just aren't really aware, and they're not paying a lot of attention. Of course, we haven't seen a really strong gold share market either, and I think when money starts to come into the sector, there's going to be a wild scramble to hunt for good stories and good projects, and you obviously have one. You have a couple of other properties too around the Robertson, which is the one in question now. Any plans to do anything with them?
We've just completed a soil sampling program on the JDN claims. Results will come out hopefully before the end of the year. Just advancing that project. It ties into Barrick and Newmont's Hilltop deposit. It's 16 miles away, on strike, on trend. The idea is to advance it to a stage where they'll want that, and we'll keep a royalty on that one as well.
Excellent. And you're well funded. I mean, you don't have many expenses right now.
About 13 million cash in the bank with no debt. That equates to about 26 cents a share in cash Canadian, and we're trading around 41 cents. So there's not a lot of value attributed to that royalty, which is amazing. So if people want to think about what a royalty in this jurisdiction could be worth. I mentioned earlier, Osisko paid $98 million for royalty on the Eagle mine with Victoria, and they're going to produce 200,000 ounces of gold annually. Pipeline in Cortez produces 5 times that. So just think about that.
So the potential is there for sure. What should shareholders and investors be on the lookout for, I guess? You've got quarterly reports that come out from Barrick, from Nevada Gold Mines. And I guess that's the main thing right
Summarizing that information. They're doing all the baseline work to put a mine in production. So they give us all that information. We're going down there in December to go review it and put our boots on the property. But I think 2020 is going to be a real breakout year for the company because this information will come out eventually. And, Barrick puts out 43-101s, and it'll be included in one at some point.
Well,
they published one in March on the whole district. So they didn't have this information yet. So it's coming in the next one.
Well, we'll have to keep our eyes open then for Barrick and any news that comes out. I think this is sort of, that cycle, that stage when you have the discovery and the stock goes nuts, and then it comes off, and then you go into the engineering, the development stage. Nobody cares, but it's before that production stage for a royalty company.
In discovery phase, it goes up and it comes back. This way, when you go into production, it's sustainable.
Right. And with the quality, you can't get
the biggest 2 gold miners on the planet with the mine next door.
Right. Well, I understand that the people here at the Metals Investor Forum have received your story very well.
They swarmed me at the booth when I got off the podium. Thanks to you. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, it's really good because I think small investors want to buy investments that aren't as risky. And the royalty model, of course, has advantages in lowering risk, and they tend to sell at a higher multiple than regular mining companies too. David, it's a really good story. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you very
Thanks
much.
for the
Jay.
time.
Pleasure.